Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys.
Morning, Jenny. How are you?
I got no trash talk today until after we talk about what happened again in Minnesota.
Gotcha.
I think the weight of what is happening in Minnesota is affecting all of us this morning, and we are going to talk about it. So let's do our best right now. Yesterday, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Twins, and Wild all postponed their games following the protests and aftermath of the police shooting of 20-year-old black man Daunte Wright in the Minneapolis suburb of Brooklyn Center during a traffic stop. The officer that fired the gun has since been placed on administrative leave while the shooting is being investigated. Greg Popovich and Doc Rivers both spoke about the situation yesterday. Take a listen.
How many times does it have to happen? And, as sick to our stomachs as we might feel, that individual's dead. He's dead. And his family's grieving, and his friends are grieving. And we just keep moving on as if nothing's happening.
Frustrating, as it should be for... I think we got to stop saying it's frustrating for all Black Americans. I think we should be frustrated by all Americans. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I saw the video, the body cam video like everyone else. But I just know the frustration is a real thing for everybody and for us.
Shannon, what is your reaction to all of this?
Doc is absolutely right, Skip. It should not be just frustration on one side, the side that feel like they're being victims, but all Americans should be outraged. Ben Franklin once said, it's only going to change when the people that are unaffected are equally as impacted as those that are.
Yep.
And because it seems to continuously happen to one group and not another group, therefore it seems nothing gets done. Skip, I believe the postponement of these games was the only right call to make.
Yep.
We saw what happened earlier this year, what happened in Kenosha. And the Bucs says, nah, we're not going to take the floor. And it's almost like, Skip, the Twin Cities are still grieving George Floyd. And not even a year later, we have this. Now, the George Floyd trial, the Derek Chauvin trial is happening right now. Skip, they interrupt the trial to tell you just this happened. You're like, really? You would think, if I'm not mistaken, the town that this happened in is about 11 miles. If I'm reading correctly, it's about 11.
Less than 10.
Yes.
It's just a suburb just to the north.
A hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You would think that the police would even be more cautious, but they're not. Skip, and accident or not, as Greg Popovich said, the guy's just as dead. For you to mistake, she's yelling, taser, taser, and for her not to know the difference after being on the force for 26 years, the difference between a taser grip and a pistol, a live pistol grip, is something that's unforgivable. You can't make that mistake, Skip. You talk about life or death. I let my shopping cart go, Skip, and it runs into your car, you got a scratch. That's an accident. You don't die. Nobody dies. You make a mistake as a police officer. It almost reminds you of the Oscar Grant situation that happened at Fruitvale Station. They did a story on it, Skip. The officer thought he was tasing him. He'd end up shooting him in the back and killing him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He just is dead. You told me it was an accident. You've been on the force for 26 years, and you still don't know the difference between a taser and a pistol. It's just so sad, Skip. It is so sad. I get it. And you say he had an expired tag. You had reason to stop him. He had air freshener dangling from his rear view. That's a violation. You're not supposed to have anything. I get all that. But Skip.
The police said it was just the expired registration.
Registration.
That's why they decided first to pull him over.
Pull him over.
Yeah.
But the level of force. Skip, I see if you're a serial rapist or he's, wanted for, 2 or 3 murders. Mm-hmm. Skip, it really expired registration?
Yeah.
Air freshener hanging from his, a gross misdemeanor? And I don't know how true this is, Skip. I read where it said that he was supposed to appear in court. They sent the Zoom to the wrong address. He didn't get it. Allegedly, he didn't get it. But the level of force that these officers use, why would you even need a taser
Yeah.
In a situation like that, and for you not to know that I have a live, Skip, I have my service revolver. I drew my service revolver on a guy for expired registration. Not a murderer, not a rapist, an expired registration for someone to draw their service revolver.
Yeah.
That's just, it's just sad. Minnesota, it just seems it can't catch a break. George Floyd is not even, as I said, not even a year old. And then this young man, 20 years of age, lost his life.
Yep.
But I'm glad for the Minnesota, the Twins, the Timberwolves. I think the Wild, I think that's the other hockey team, postponed their game, Skip. I think it was the only right thing to do.
I agree.
And I think we're in a different climate now, Skip. You covered this game a lot longer than I played it, and I've been following this game. It's a new era. It's a dawn of a new era. Guys and women are no longer going to sit back and because what they realize is that, hold on, I'm a part of this community. Guess what? The Timberwolves, some of them might live in this area. The Wild, the Twins, some of them might live in, look, this is my community. I'm not exempt from this, and especially if you're black. So kudos to the Timberwolves, but this is it's just sad. It's so sad, and I'm at a loss for words, Skip. I don't really know what else to say because it doesn't seem like it's stopping. I thought it was going to be some changes, but what's going to change it, Skip, is that these settlements start coming out of the police pension. That $27 million that the city had to pay George Floyd family, that needs to come out of the police pension. Yeah. So moving forward, anytime there's a suit and the city has to settle, that needs to come out of the police pension. And that's the only way that's going to stop this. Because, Skip, as long as somebody's having to foot the bill, you're going to be as reckless and egregious if you care, because it don't cost you anything. More times than not, they kick the trash down the road. He goes to another department, gets another job.
Okay. Back to what we just saw Doc say. And what you echoed, I echo, in that I can't feel about this exactly the way you do because I just can't. But I can feel the way I feel. And it makes me sick and outraged all at once because it is so deeply disturbing that it happened again on the very day that George Floyd's relatives were testifying on his behalf in the Derek Chauvin trial. The very day. I couldn't make this up. And this is the first time when I woke up this morning, it makes me so sick. I didn't really want to talk about it, but it's what we do here. It's just what we do. And so I just tried to dredge it back up. And quickly to your sports point, the little tiny way that I'm feeling, I get the way the athletes, the professional athletes are feeling, who are so deeply affected in different personal ways, especially in the Minneapolis area, where it's not about protesting what happened. It's just about, I just don't feel like playing.
Right.
There have been many times in my career, dating back to 9/11, when I said the professional athletes need to provide the brief respite that they are so great at providing. Just go ahead and play the games because we need some escape from this.
Because, Skip, Pete Rozelle said his greatest mistake is that he didn't cancel the game with the assassination of President Kennedy.
Okay.
Because the same thing you said, he felt America needed an escape.
I got it. But this is so different because this can deeply affect, especially obviously the black players involved with all these teams. Maybe the white players too are just so disturbed that you just don't feel like you can function for a game. And so you postpone, and I got zero problem with that.
Zero.
Happened all the way up to New York to the Yankees. Aaron Hicks, Aaron Boone said after the game, I've got no problem because he just felt like he could not go tonight.
Right.
Okay, got that. So just briefly, just for the sake of discussion, I'm going to walk us back through what allegedly happened here to Daunte Wright as he was driving at age 20 as a 2-year-old child. He was driving with his girlfriend in a car that his parents had provided him a couple of weeks back. And according to the police, it had an expired registration.
Correct.
Again, I'm telling you what they said.
Right.
I don't know exactly what happened. And the first story I read said that Daunte Wright called his mom and said, uh-oh, as you would do.
Right.
We talked about the talk.
Correct.
That every black parent has to have in this day and age with black children.
Yeah, I can assure you, Skip, not very many white kids are calling their parents if they get pulled over by the police.
Totally with you. And he decided to continue to drive for a while to get to a more public venue.
Correct.
Where you don't just pull over on a side street where there aren't a lot of witnesses.
Correct.
So he continues to drive, and I don't know if that gave them more time to run the plates or whatever, but they see that, oh, hold on just a second, there is an outstanding warrant for his arrest stemming from this missed hearing that you talked about. I don't know if it's a missed Zoom hearing or whatever, on a misdemeanor gun charge, facing 2 misdemeanor charges after Minneapolis police said he had carried a pistol without a permit and then he had run from the officers. Okay, so that's outstanding. So now we have the circumstance of that.
Right.
So they decide that as he pulls over, we have to arrest him because there's a warrant for his arrest.
Correct.
So they call for another backup car. So now you have 3 officers involved. The first 2 go to driver's side, passenger side. He gets out for a moment. You can see on the video. I'm sure you've watched the video probably more than once. And then the female officer in question, named Kim Potter, walks up as they are trying to cuff him. And he begins to fight back and decides he's going to get back in his car. Well, obviously, this is dangerous on his part.
Yeah.
So we get that. What we don't get is what happened next, because once again, this is completely avoidable. This is so utterly preventable. And now we're back to the taser issue that is mind-blowing to me.
Thank you.
That she could reach suddenly, she's a veteran of 26 years on the force.
She's the president of the union.
The local union. 2019, she got elected the president of the local police union. Does that mean they're going to provide her a little more protection here? I don't know, but it's possible, and I'm glad you raised that issue and point. And you can hear it on the video, she yells, taser, 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 and she grabs her pistol, and then she shoots one time, hits him in the chest, and you can hear on the video say, "Oh
bleep, I shot him."
Holy bleep, I shot him. You did? You shot him? Okay, so according to a New York Times story that I read today, that this has happened before. This is not unusual. It happened in 2015. An officer in Oklahoma mistook his taser for his pistol, and then there's 2018 in Kansas, and there's 2019 in Pennsylvania. There's 4 recent times that an officer reached for the taser and grabbed the handgun and fired it.
Right.
Well, how can we make tasers that are so close to handguns that they could be mistaken for?
Right.
So this is not a one-off.
No.
This has been happening fairly regularly.
Hey, but Skip, I can say that's what officers always say. I thought that was this. Or do what they say, I felt in danger. And so now you have to take what he said at that time, his frame of mind.
Yeah.
Not you and I sitting here discussing it. Not in a courtroom. What did he actually think at that time? And that's what they always do. A mistake. Oh, I thought it was a taser. So you shouldn't even be on the force. If you don't know the difference between a taser and a service revolver, get off the force.
I totally agree. And then, yet they quoted a California-based expert on the use of force by law enforcement. And this expert says that, unfortunately, this does happen, and this is not the first time, and it won't be the last time. Why not? Why wouldn't it be the last time? Why can't we fix this and stop this?
Right.
Isn't there a way to make a taser that doesn't feel like a pistol in your hand?
I guess they want it to feel as real as possible, Skip. I guess the grip, because that's what they call the pistol grip. But
I guess so. And then I read quotes in the New York Times piece from the governor of Minnesota, who said that police reform has just languished in the courts since George Floyd was murdered.
Exactly.
And he said our time to get one shot at fixing this was right there. And in the midst of this trial, with the world watching, this situation repeated itself yesterday with no legal reform in sight. Why not? You and I have talked for months about how, at least why can't you start to fix this? Why can't you hold these officers more accountable?
Skip, let's get all the way real. We know why not. It was just like in the 80s when the crack epidemic hit.
Yep.
You had 3 strikes. You had mandatory minimums. You got more time for a gram of coke, a gram of crack, than you did a kilo of cocaine. Because who was it? It was the impoverished minority black communities as opposed to the rich elite of the white cocaine. And what we see with OxyContin with the pills, it was hitting rust belts. And they come up with all these reforms. Skip, prison, that's too harsh. They need help. They help those that look like them. And those that don't, we're fine. You got to do away with qualified immunity. We must hold officers accountable. We can't mistake. Skip, people go to jail all the time for mistakes. You accidentally shoot somebody. You accidentally run someone over. There's a great chance you're going to go to jail. But police say, oh, it was an honest mistake. This is not the first time. It probably won't be the last time it happens. What? And people, they just brush it off, Skip, like I had a flat tire. Come on, America. And stop telling me, well, Shannon, if you don't like what's going on in America, just move, just leave. Well, hell, I remember January 6th, some people didn't like what was going on in America. They didn't leave. They tried to topple the government. 75 million people. If you don't like the outcome of the election, just leave until 2024 and come back. You see, that's what they do. If you don't like what's going on, if you think something's going on in the country, just leave. Skip, you can't have this. Police got to be more accountable for their actions. We got to hold people more accountable.
So the mayor of St. Paul was quoted as saying, why can't we have tasers that look and feel differently that you could never mistake for deploying a firearm?
Correct.
Well, it's so bizarre to me that this is being written off as an accident that it makes you wonder, was it an accident? I don't know. I do. I sit back and wonder, is it a subliminal issue of I could reach for my firearm and say it was my taser?
Exactly.
Right?
And Skip, the thing is, her hand is on the trigger. For a guy that got a violation, I mean, did nobody say, well, he got a gun, he's reaching for a gun? No one said that.
No.
So she came up there already on expired registration, a misdemeanor warrant. Skip ain't got, really? So you come up there with that level of force to like, okay, this is where I am. And Skip, we just saw mass shootings. And if the guy doesn't kill himself, they bring him out alive. Like it ain't nothing. Bring him out. Well, he's smiling for the camera. He might have got shot in the leg or something, but they never killed him. I'm trying to figure out how. And the guy with a traffic stop is dead.
I have said for years on this show and others I've been on that somehow we have to put a stop to the killing of unarmed black men and women by white cops. And I don't want to hear any more accidents. I just don't want to hear it. It just needs to stop. And I thought we had a new heightened sense of urgency here. I thought maybe subliminally it would reach a lot of the police, and there's still a lot of bad eggs out there. They're already in place.
Skip,
you know it, and I know
I think the general population have a heightened sense, but we're not in position. We sent people to Washington. We sent people to state level governments that's doing absolutely nothing because that police union is so powerful. You see what they did when they had the law out here in Sacramento where they was trying to get passed and how they just shot it down. And that's the problem. The lawmakers are not going to do anything.
The one here in Sacramento was during when the NBA teams were in the bubble, and it just kind of came and went.
It did.
And it didn't get legs. It didn't get backing. It didn't get any rocket fuel to it the way it should have. Because it was going to lay down some new laws that would hold these officers accountable.
I think you see what happened in Maryland has done away with the police Bill of Rights. Colorado's done away with qualified immunity. Do away with qualified immunity. That's a start. Skip, you got to get people. Skip, I mean, it don't take you really no time to become a police officer. Everybody, Skip, everybody is not meant. Just because you're physically able, you're not psychologically able. If you got a short fuse, Skip, you don't need to be a police officer. If you're that scared, you don't need to be a police officer.
At least we could increase the psychological screening process to where maybe we could screen out some of the closet racists who get these jobs.
You got to, Skip.
Some already have these jobs, and you just have to like pray to God that they don't get itchy trigger fingers.
But here's the thing, Skip. It's kind of like when you go, it's what we call culture. You go to New England, you fall in line with that culture. Good culture, you fall in line, you be good. But if you go somewhere that has a bad culture, you fall in line, then what happens? It keeps it going. It keeps the negative culture going. And that's what we see here in some of these. With this, we just saw what you saw in North Virginia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A guy in uniform.
Pepper spray.
You know, in uniform. Mm-hmm. Well, we didn't see his temporary tag in his back window. Mm-hmm. Guy got a uniform on and everything. Now, I thought cops and troops, you know, we go hand in hand. We love our troops. We love our cops. Colin Kaepernick takes a knee.
And by the way, that man in uniform filed suit against him.
Yeah, he should have.
Yes.
This was in December. Mm-hmm. Pepper sprayed the man.
Yep.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter. The one uniform that he got on that he can't take off is that skin. He can't take that off. They look right past that green, that camouflage uniform he had on. They look right past that, Skip. Yep. They look past a helmet. They look past a jersey because the one uniform, if you black, that you can't take off is that skin. And that's what they see first. Mm-hmm. They look at that skin, they're like, they didn't even see no uniform. Mm-mm. For all they know, he was naked. They don't see no jersey. They don't see no helmets.
Nope. Mm-mm.
That's Agreed. What you have to realize. And don't tell me, well, I don't see color. Just go say, yes, how you respond once you see. That's the stimuli. That's what we want to know. Don't say, well, I don't see color. I treat it. No, you don't. Stop. Everybody, we know you see color, unless you're colorblind or you're blind. Mm-hmm. So we know you see color. How you react once you see that color. Mm-hmm. Man, this is, like Doc says, I mean, you know, yeah, we should be outraged. Everybody in America should be outraged. But we're not nearly enough. Congress should want to pass legislation. Skip, why can't people be held accountable for their actions? Only the police get to have gross negligence and not be held culpable. Skip, you and I, we got to be held accountable for what we say and what we do here at Fox. Mm-hmm. There ain't nobody life in danger. We can't kill anybody. They got you walk out there, you got the very life in your hand, on your hip. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be held accountable. Nah, we can't, you know, we don't want them to be fearful. The hell, Skip, if you fearful, you got a taser, you got a gun, you got a baton. How the hell you think I feel with a pair of jeans and a T-shirt on?
Yep. So another day, another tragedy happens. And I feel so helpless. All I can do is talk about it.
Yeah.
And listen to you talk about it and learn from you. But apparently that's not nearly enough.
No. I need the people that got elected. Yeah. We didn't elect all of them, different people elected, to come to some kind of resolution that says, you know what, we got to stop this. Mm-hmm. I get it. And I'm not saying, Skip, police work is hard. I got a lot of guys that I played college football with that are police officers. Yeah. Some are in the FBI, some in the ATF, some are local level.
It's hard.
It's hard.
I agree.
But you chose that line of work now.
Yep.
Don't use that as a cop-out. It's hard. You understood that when you accepted that assignment. It's just like you said, Skip, it's frustrating.
We got to change the way those are chosen.
Yes, absolutely.
I think helpless is a good word to use, Skip, because I've been thinking about this since it happened. And, you know, it shouldn't affect me more that it's from my hometown, but it's a tragedy in Minnesota. That's our headline. And this is 20 minutes from where I grew up. But what I can't figure out is by me saying I am struggling with this, how does that help, right? Like, we've been here before. We know we need change. Daunte Wright had his whole life ahead of him. He's a 20-year-old man with a son and siblings and a mother and father who loved him, and he's gone. And me saying I'm devastated doesn't help or bring him back. And I really hope that we as a community can start to make the changes that need to happen, because these conversations, though it's important to have, are not changing the outcome. And the Black community in Minnesota is really hurting after George Floyd, and this is a community that needs our support. So I'm just hoping that we can offer that the best way we can. The right family is in our thoughts.
Jenny, before you go, Skip, think about the situation. They allowed Andy Reid, who was driving almost 90 miles an hour, who was intoxicated at the time. Skip, they let him go home. They didn't take him to jail. They didn't throw no guns. They let the man go home. You see the difference? If Andy Reid's son was black, if he was black.
We're talking about Andy Reid's son.
Andy Reid's son, Brett Reid. Oh. Do you believe they would have let him go if he had an accident like that? Do you believe they'd let him go home and they smelled alcohol and he was almost twice the legal limit? Absolutely not. That's it in and of a nutshell, right there.
Well, he's being brought to justice now.
Yeah, think about when this happened.
I agree.
This happened 2 months ago.
I got it.
They let a man DUI drive him go home.
And a 5-year-old is basically on life support right now.
Daunte Wright had a gross misdemeanor, and he dead.
I thought about that a lot, too, like the feeling I get when I see a cop, and I don't get the same fear, and that just is a crazy reality that I've thought of you, Shannon, and it is not right, and we need to be better as a community, and the Wright family is in our thoughts. We are praying for you. We're going to continue to pray for you and do what we can on this small scale to keep talking about it in the right way. We're going to switch gears.
No mercy.
3-time Super Bowl champ Julian Edelman is hanging it up after 12 seasons with the Patriots. In a video posted to social media, Edelman said, quote, "I've always said I'll go until the wheels come off, and they finally have fallen off." Tom Brady posted a heartfelt message on Instagram telling Edelman he always, quote, "shined the most in the playoffs." Edelman finished his career with a Super Bowl MVP, and he ranked second in NFL history with 118 postseason receptions, trailing only Jerry Rice here. So, Shannon, should he get any Hall of Fame consideration?
Skip, you know I hate doing this, Skip. You know I do it.
I do.
Because it put me in a very uncomfortable spot because I'm in the Hall of Fame, and then everybody go pick this up. Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp says Julian Edelman doesn't belong. But he doesn't.
Okay, well, you will not be alone because I'm going to guess if we polled every living Hall of Famer, they'd all say no. That's what I believe.
Skip, look, I understand Julian Edelman has had a great career. He's phenomenal to be a college quarterback, selected, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the 7th round, and to be able to use every gift that he was given to maximize his God-given ability and become an NFL player, to win 3 Super Bowls, to be a Super Bowl MVP is something that we should commend. But to go to the Hall of Fame, the Mecca, the heaven for athletes, for football players in the NFL, Skip, that club should be very, very reserved. Skip, Julian Edelman has never been thought of as a top 10 or top 15 receiver. He's never made a Pro Bowl.
Nope.
He's never been a first-team All-Pro, a second-team All-Pro.
Yep.
I just don't. I mean, it doesn't add up. And I think in order, you got to make at least 1 Pro Bowl to even get on the ballot for a Hall of Fame. You got to make at least 1 Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Skip, look, I mean, there are so many guys. You look at Hines Ward. Hines Ward he got 1,000 catches.
Yep.
Wes Welker got over 900 catches.
Yep.
My brother got just as many catches in 6, 7 fewer years. Skip, look.
Like I said, would be in the Hall of Fame if his career hadn't gotten cut.
Skip, I look. No, to make a long story short and a short story long, I do not believe what he's done because it's too many guys. The list is too long when it comes to receivers and his numbers just don't match up. You got to be, Skip, you got to be great, not just in the playoffs. You got to be great in the regular season also. And I just don't think his body of work is compelling enough to say, it's okay, Julian Edelman is one of the top. I mean, by the time he's eligible, probably be 400 guys in.
Yep.
Of the 26,000 men, Julian Edelman's one of the 400 best. I just don't believe that's the case.
Okay, I'm going to go on record before I unleash on this. There is no way Julian Edelman ever makes it into the Hall of Fame. It is over and done. Will not happen.
You feel comfortable saying that?
I do. Because I have a pretty good feel for the voters, and they will be right in line with every point you just made. They will start with 0 Pro Bowls, and that will pretty much end the conversation.
Yeah, yes.
But there is a case to be made for this man. And I'm going to make it here just to demonstrate how strong his postseason case is, because it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
In fact, it's shockingly strong. It is the outlier case. It breaks all of my rules. I'm much more strict about the Hall of Fame than you are because you're in it. You a lot of times you sit back and say, well, yeah, it's okay.
Right.
Because you don't want to look like the old curmudgeon.
I'm trying to keep everybody.
You don't want to be the grumpy old man in the Hall of Fame and say, no, they don't belong. I'm in it. They don't.
Right.
They're not me.
Exactly.
And I'm usually the guy who says that there are two halls. There's the Hall of Fame and there's the Hall of Very Good.
Right.
And usually you'd say a Julian Edelman is a candidate for the Hall of Very Good, but only a candidate for that.
Right.
But he has broken all of my Hall of Fame rules. What's my number one rule? If I have to think twice about you, you are not in my Hall of Fame. I'm talking about if I say Tom Brady, well, you just say, yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Like, you don't have to think twice.
Right.
But I can throw a lot of other quarterbacks out there. Right. Phillip Rivers. If I pause for a second, I'm a no.
Right.
But you can make a strong case Phillip Rivers belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
But he has what to show for it? Okay. So now we're back to Julian Edelman. Let's start with what Bill Belichick said yesterday, the statement he released, because it was gushing like I'd never heard this coach ever gush about any player this side of Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
Seriously. Now, you can say he did this to undermine and undercut Tom Brady, who's now a Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl champ. But Bill Belichick said yesterday, few players can match Julian's achievements, period. But considering his professional trajectory and longevity, the group is even more select. It is historic. In the biggest games and moments, with championships at stake, he reached even greater heights and delivered some of his best, most thrilling performances. That is very, very true.
Right.
This is gushing from Bill Belichick, and you have a lot more respect for Bill than I do. Okay, what do we know about Julian Edelman in the postseason? Well, he's second to Jerry Rice in every category. Okay, what do we know about Jerry Rice? Well, he's the go-to receivers. Most people, I don't agree with that because I'm a Michael Irvin fan, but most people concur. You concur. He is the go-to receiver.
Yes.
Okay, Jerry Rice played 29 postseason games to Julian's 19, so he played 10 more games. But Julian is second in every, the catches and yards categories. But if we boil it down to just yards per game, wait a second, Julian's at 76 yards a game in the postseason in those 19, while Jerry's at 77 yards a game in his 29 games. Okay, catches per game in the postseason. Julian's got 6 a game. Jerry had 5 a game. Okay, so you got to say those numbers alone would tell you, well, he's kind of right there. He's at least in the stratosphere with Jerry Rice in the postseason, right? Okay, let's go to Super Bowls. Let's go to 3 Super Bowls that were very close games, right? All of them down to the wire. In the first one against Seattle, Legion of Boom, we've talked about it. He had 12 targets in that game and caught 9 for 109, including what became the game-winning touchdown pass. I know it happened with 2 minutes left, and then you know the rest of the story.
But Skip, it was the play that he got concussed, though. Remember, he got hit by Cam, and he kept going.
He kept going. And that was after this. I mean, I thought he was out of the game, and today he would have been out of that game, I'm pretty sure, right? Then we get to the Atlanta comeback Super Bowl, and he gets 13 targets. He catches 5 for 87. Not quite as great, but he made the catch of catches. His signature catch is the one he caught off his
it got chipped, almost got intercepted.
Now, here we go. Up, and you can say he saved Brady's bacon there with that catch.
That probably would have ended the game.
It could have. It well could have. So he made the catch of catches in that game, and then he comes back against the Rams in one of the worst offensive Super Bowls in the history of the game. And he gets 12 targets and catches 10 for 141, and that qualifies him to be the MVP of that Super Bowl. Okay, so that's 24 catches for 337 yards in 3 very close down-to-the-wire Super Bowl games. That's an average of 8 catches for 112 in 3 Super Bowls. Okay, this brings me to Lynn Swann. He finally got in the Hall of Fame. It took him 14 tries to get in the Hall of Fame. I used to live in the Lynn Swann debate on ESPN in my early years. And you know Lynn probably a little bit.
I do.
Okay. And he was, for our younger audience, he was a great receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He was kind of like Odell before Odell. He was making those acrobatic.
He was the circus catch king. And yet he was, on the opposite side of that formation was John Stallworth, who's also a Hall of Famer. And it was a running football team featuring our man Terry Bradshaw handing off to Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier.
Who are both in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They're both in the Hall of Fame. Okay, so we get that. But how did Lynn finally get in? What case did he have to make in the Hall of Fame? He had a Super Bowl case because he made catches of catches in the Super Bowl twice against my Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowls 10 and 13. He made
all-time circus catches where I just said, how did you do that? Right? Okay, and it finally qualified him to get in. I don't know why it took him so long. We used to go back and forth. Is it because right out of pro football, he became a big TV star because he became an announcer?
Well, I think also, Skip, what guys, you have to be careful now. Because what they were doing is that they were comparing Lynn's numbers. What he had, I think he had 300 catches, and you're trying to modernize them. Well, you can't do that. They throw the ball far too much now. So now, Skip...
Because if I do Julian versus Lynn in the regular season, it's Julian all day. Okay? I got it.
So you got to compare those guys to the era in which they played in. So you got to compare Julian to the era in which he played in. How was Julian, he came in 2010, 2009?
Yeah, what's he up to? Well,
11 years?
Yeah.
So if you say his 11-year stretch, would you name... I mean, you got Megatron, and you got Reggie Wayne, and you got D-Hop, and you got Larry Fitzgerald. You got all these guys. You got Julio Jones. You got all these guys in that era. And it's hard for me to say Julian is better than any of those guys.
Okay, I get that, because you can't. If you do it like in a combine in your mind, the first, let's just talk about the white elephant in the room. He's just a little white guy, and it's just your mind won't go there. Like, little white receivers don't get in the Hall of Fame.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, maybe the last one was Steve Largent. You got to go back to like 1990, I think, the last white receiver to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And he caught a bunch of balls.
He caught a bunch of balls. Yes. He's one of the few that's the first ballot. I think there's only been like 5 or 6 receivers that's gotten in on the first ballot.
Okay, so the first time I became acutely aware of Julian Edelman's impact came in 2016. We had just started this show, and we went to the Super Bowl in Houston, which was a Fox event.
Correct.
And all week long, we were talking about the two teams, the two offenses. Matt Ryan, as you correctly predicted, was on his way to that Saturday night becoming the MVP of the league, correct?
Yes.
And we would debate every day, it seemed like, in Houston, Julian Edelman versus Julio Jones, who was he's been your best receiver from day one, right? So that season, Julio Jones led the NFL in catches per game. Receiving yards per game. It's 101. 100 yards, so he averaged 100 yards a game. But I kept breaking down and looking at second and third level stats, and I'd say, well, wait a second. On catches for first down on third down, Julian Edelman that season had 24. Julio had 9. 24-9. Yards after catch. Julian had 505 that year to 423 for Julio, who's way faster than Julian. I don't know what Julian timed. I should have looked it up, but he's probably 4.5-ish somewhere. But he's quicker.
Yeah, he's more quick than fast.
He was fast. Okay, so that year was sort of the pinnacle of Julian Edelman. And obviously he's catching passes from the greatest quarterback ever. But they did have a wavelength, and they ran a whole bunch of option routes in which he would be doubled on if you qualify double coverage as bracket coverage. Where you'd have
him in and out.
You might have a corner and a safety, or a corner and a linebacker, or somebody would have them inside, outside. Whichever way you go on your option route, somebody's going to get you. Because Brady would just let him choose, and Brady was so in sync with him, he'd wait, boom, and hit him as he cut one way or the other. And you better know each other, or it's going to the wrong person, right? Okay, but he was virtually uncoverable that year, and then he rose and shone in the fourth quarter of that Super Bowl. And I topped off the argument then with he had become the fighting spirit of a dynasty, because you want to talk about a trash talker? You want to talk about fearless? This guy would trash talk anybody. I remember that game, that Sunday night game, Mahomes versus Brady at Foxborough, the big shootout game. And Julian went crazy. I think he had 150 yards receiving, and it mostly was on Marcus Peters, and he was going at him verbally the whole game. Stop me, stop me, stop me. Well, New England didn't have anybody like that, so he provided a fighting spirit, because he would stand up to anybody. Okay, so I'm adding all that up as a contributor to a dynasty, and he will never get in the Hall of Fame, but there is a case to be made here, I believe, that he belongs in the Hall of Fame, because I read a Boston article from CBS Boston that you really can't tell the story of the 2010s without Julian Edelman in the middle of it in the playoffs. To a big touchdown pass. Remember the game they came back on the Ravens? 2014, right? In that playoff run. I don't know how they escaped that day. Okay? So he was crucial to them in the postseason. What do you always say? Your legacy is made in the postseason, whether you like it or not. What do I always say? Wake me up when the postseason starts.
Right.
Show me when it matters. When you push the money to the center of the table in the postseason, now show me what you got. Well, did he not show you what he had every time, every game in the postseason?
Yeah, he's big. But, Skip, it's just going to be hard in a passing era. The guy's 250 in touchdown catches. He's 156 in yardage.
Oh, if you just do regular season stats?
Yeah.
No way.
It's going to be.
No, it's impossible.
But in order, like Skip, for a bill, you got to bring it forward. I mean, before a bill becomes a law, it's got to be a bill. You got to debate it on the floor.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even know how you get to debate with no Pro Bowls. I mean, how do you even get him in the room to have the discussion?
I have a pretty good feel for how that will go that day if his name comes up. I'm not even sure his name will ever be introduced to the committee.
Right.
But if it is, 0 Pro Bowls. Next.
Right.
Right?
I mean, because I believe Willie McGinnis has a case, Skip. He's the all-time leader in playoff sacks.
He is.
And he's been to the Pro Bowl numerous times.
Yep.
And Willie can't get a sniff.
Can't get a sniff. Hines Ward has a case.
Yes.
Okay.
Hines Ward caught a touchdown.
He did.
Caught a touchdown with Super Bowl MVP.
He was.
1,000 catches.
He has a big case. I agree.
Torrey Holt.
Yep.
He hadn't even got in yet.
We can go on and on. But there's some transcendence to what Julian Edelman did. And I don't even care about overachievement. That's not a qualifier for Hall of Fame. You just did what you did.
Yeah.
You either did it or you didn't, and he did it.
And I think that's why Coach Belichick wrote that. Coach Belichick likes guys that everybody's like giving up. He believed in him and what he became.
Yeah.
Skip, that doesn't happen often. No. I mean, the guy was a quarterback in college.
He was.
He gets drafted to play wide receiver, and he goes on and he's a Super Bowl MVP. He wins 3 Super Bowls. He carved out a great career for himself. And he knows that he got everything out of his ability. Yeah, his body betrayed him at the end.
Well,
he said, I want to play till the wheels fall off.
We talked about Cam in Carolina. He quote-unquote, Julian died for the cause. You want to talk about the punishment?
It's the same thing.
He was the one taking the punishment.
It's the same thing that happened to Wes Welker.
Yep.
When you play that slot and you're involved in all those collisions, when it goes quick. I mean, that's a lot of collisions because there's a lot of bang bang.
Yeah.
Like you said, a lot of them third downs.
Yeah.
You know the linebacker's right there. You're going to take that shot.
You're going to take a shot, and the shot he took from Cam in that Super Bowl and got up and kept wobbling ahead.
Yes.
This man should be proud of what he achieved.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I know.
Yeah. Okay. No questions whatsoever.
All right. No denying that. And no denying that this next guy we're going to talk about, he will be a future Hall of Famer in the NBA.
Yeah.
Steph Curry passed Wilt Chamberlain as the all-time scoring leader in Warriors history last night. Steph passed the Hall of Fame center in the first quarter with 21 points, and he would go on to finish with 53 on the night that included a win over the Nuggets. And ahead of the game, Reggie Miller describes Steph as being, quote, Mr. Warrior. So, Shannon, how impressive was it that Steph passed Wilt?
It's very impressive, but how he did it, Skip, and I've watched Steph enough. Guys like Steph, you can't let them hit them shots like that early. Because if you didn't let 2 or 3 go in, well, you might as well just okay, let's just try to do what we can, brace for this storm. Let's just batten down the hatches, Skip, because it's coming. You can't let that guy.
No.
Because he's shooting from that kind of distance, and he sees 3 go in a row. Mm-hmm. Well, it's over.
And he said after the game, I was just going to shoot it tonight. Yeah.
And that's what it is, Skip. And he is Mr. Warrior. Mm-hmm. The Warriors have had some great players, and I know a lot of people think, the Warriors were bad for a long time. I mean, they had Run TMC that were, they were good, but they didn't win the title.
I loved watching those teams.
Yeah, Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond. Oof. But Skip, before then, you go back to Wilt Chamberlain. They had Rick Barry. They had Al Attles. They had some really, really good teams.
Yep.
But Steph is it. Wilt Chamberlain. Now, Skip, it's rare that you find a guy that changes the game. But it's even rare that you have 2 guys play for the same organization that changed the game. Now, Wilt changed the game. Wilt was the reason that they widened the lane.
Yeah.
Because Wilt was the reason that they did offensive goaltending. Wilt was the reason because Wilt would jump from the free throw line on free throws to lay the ball in the basket, Skip. They said, no, you can't do that.
Just quickly to your point, Wilt played 5.5 seasons for what became the Golden State Warriors. And he averaged 42 points and 25 rebounds. These are silly stats that I can't even compute.
That's why, Skip, it's really hard to judge him.
Yeah.
The guy averaged 24 rebounds for a career. Let that sink in. For a career, he averaged 24 rebounds a game. He had a game, he had 55 rebounds. So we said Wilt to a side. But Steph, all the guys that I mentioned, they're not as accomplished as Steph. With the titles and the way he transcended, the way he'll transcend the player, Skip. Because now, guess what? Ain't nobody got their tongue out trying to dunk the ball. No. Everybody trying to launch up threes. He made it in vogue. There is not a bad shot now, Skip.
Yep.
It used to be guys shot the three-point shot for the most part. It was the end of the quarter, end of the half, or the end of the shot clock. The shots that they shot back then, and people say they're a bad shot, Steph Curry shooting those shots. Yep. And he made it in vogue. So now we see Luka, we see Dame Lillard, we see so many guys. Now, Steph didn't create the three-point shot. The three-point shot came in, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, 1979, and I think Chris Ford played for the Celtics, was the first one to make one.
Yep.
But the way now analytics are rewarding the three, now don't take that mid-range. If you don't got a dunk or a layup, pull it out and shoot a three.
Yep.
Guys that have, Skip, what we ever see, guys have layups and they kick to a three.
Yep.
Because of that guy.
Because of that guy.
So he's right. He's Mr. Warrior. He's an unbelievable, phenomenal player, Skip. And guys like small guards.
Yep.
Magic. We get Magic was a transcendent player. We had never seen a guy 6'9" play the point. That's what he was. 6'9" guy. Mr. Russell was 6'9". He was a center. Most 6'9".
And had his way with Wilt on occasion.
And 6'9" guys, you a power forward, you a center.
Yep.
He was a point guard. You look at little Steph, and that's what everybody says. Oh, man, he too little. Maybe dude like 6'2", 6'3", probably like 170 pounds. What he gonna do? That. That's what he gonna do.
So I so much agree with the one line that you said early. Steph is it. He is it. That's it. That sums it up. Those three words. Steph is it. I'm going to state for the record one more time. Back before Steph's draft, I used to fight on ESPN with everybody, including our man Chris Broussard. They all loved Blake Griffin, who had stayed 2 years at the University of Oklahoma. I watched every game he played at Oklahoma, and I just didn't love it.
Right.
He could shoot about a 1-foot shot. Right. That's about all he had. And I kept watching this little Steph Curry, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm taking that man.
Yes.
I'll never forget that NCAA game against Kansas. Went right to the wire. And I almost had him. I got into it at ESPN with his coach because I criticized his coach, and I still believe that it was the wrong strategy at the end. I got to figure out how to get the ball in that guy's hand. But the point was, if you redrafted today, I'm pretty sure he'd go first.
Oh, yeah, he'd go first overall,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay. It is not an overstatement to say he revolutionized the game of basketball with that shot. The greenest of lights, but the greatest of depths that we've ever seen. And Dame is following in those footsteps, but he's the one who blazed the trail.
Yes.
Okay. And it took guts. It obviously took a coach in Steve Kerr who gave him the green light, but Steve just knew. Right. Steve was a really good shooter himself, and he said, that guy is the best.
Even Mark Jackson, who had him first.
Started.
Skip, you remember, because when Mark came out and said, well, this is the greatest
the greatest duo.
Backcourt shooting duo. Man, y'all crazy. You forgot about Walt Frazier and Earl Pearl. Right. You forgot about these guys. He said, I'm telling you, these are the greatest two shooters ever.
Yep.
And
he was right.
But Skip, in order to let him flourish, you can't, because Skip, back in the day, if you shot them shots that he was shooting, they snatch your butt out the game.
Yeah.
But you got to let him go.
You got to let him go. I agree. Okay, and you got to let me go one other place here, because we just talked about the flip side of this discussion, which was Edelman, that we talked about one topic ago, that all he did was in the postseason, and you can't even begin to sell his regular seasons.
Right.
Well, this is the flip side, because I've still been somewhat disappointed with Steph in the postseason. And again, this is where your legacy is made, and I'm hoping he gets more shots at this. They got to get Clay healthy.
They got to get Clay healthy,
and then maybe we'll have another conversation about this. But I will never be able to forget, obviously, because I was on the other side of with the rooting interest, what happened with your man LeBron and those Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016. They're down 3-1. And obviously, Draymond got suspended for Game 5 back at Golden State. But 5, 6, and 7, this man This 6'3" man came up even smaller than he is in all three of those games. He was abysmal in those three. Yeah. I've had Golden State insiders say he was banged up. He was having a knee issue. He wasn't quite right. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of pass, but shooters shoot. And he had you guys on the ropes, and it was up to him to close that deal. He's the best player, right? He's Mr. Warrior. And he didn't. In the fourth quarters of those three games, they had chances all three games. He shot 30% from the floor, which is abysmal, and 25% from three. And he didn't shoot a single free throw in any of the three fourth quarters. That's just wrong. Right. He was an overall minus 12 for what it's worth. But the game was Game 7, as you know. It was a teeter-totter, back and forth. And in that game, he ended up shooting 6 of 19 from the floor, 4 of 14 from three, which is 29%. But the bad part was in the fourth quarter when he went 1 of 6 from the floor and 1 of 5 from three. And if we could just see some of his misses here, these are some of his misses in the fourth quarter. You just have to make, if you
especially that was the Skip. You don't get any more with break.
Ball. That hit nothing but backboard.
Yeah.
And he's banging himself on the head, and we're seeing his misses. This is Steph Curry. This is, you got to make that.
You would never, ever expect him to miss that one.
He missed bad wide left. It's like, you can't miss these. You can't miss it that bad.
Right.
Your team is teetering. Finally, Kyrie said, okay, give me the damn ball, and I'm going to make one. And he made one shot, and that was it. And I'll give you a chase down block. I thought it was a bicycle built for two, thanks to J.R. Smith, but that was a big play in the game. But Steph Curry was a non-factor in all three fourth quarters. And then we get to the Raptors finals in 2019. And again, they had all kinds of injuries. As you know, finally KD was gone, and then Clay was gone.
Right.
But the two key games were Game 4 and 6, both at his house, at Oracle. And in Game 4, they're down 2-1, so they could tie the series. He went 9 of 22 from the floor and 2 of 9 from three. But then Game 6 is a closeout game that they got closed out at home. They could have forced a Game 7 back in Toronto, and it went to the wire. And if we could see the shot that Steph missed with 8 seconds left, they're down 1. So this is to put them up 2. And I thought that was a reasonable look from him, and he missed it.
Yeah, for Steph Curry,
if he makes that, at least we go to a Game 7, and then we're back to anything could happen. And I didn't know exactly what was going to happen injury-wise to the rest of them, but the point is, if you're that dude, if you're that magic man at home, at least at home, you got to defend your home floor by making some of those fourth quarter threes. So I just throw it up to you. As much as he is Mr. Warrior, and I concede that, I love Rick Barry. He's a friend of mine. He was for a long time Mr. Warrior because he was something, man.
Yeah.
Could he score? Woo.
Yeah.
But the point is, this is Mr. Warrior without enough of a postseason legacy because he's played in all those finals, and obviously he has no finals MVP.
But when it's all said, do you think, where would you rank him as point guards all time? I know you got Magic number 1.
Pure point?
Yeah. I know you got Magic number 1.
It's hard for me to even put him in the point guard discussion. He's just a shooter.
Yeah.
And he's the greatest shooter ever. I think he's beyond Clay.
Yeah.
Okay? So I don't know how to rank him as a point guard, although the other thing, and there was a good story on ESPN.com yesterday, and it's quoting Jerry West, who said, don't underestimate how great he is at scoring the ball with either hand at the basket. He is really good at it. And he's a reasonable distributor.
Yeah.
He'll get you 6-ish assists a game. Yeah. So I don't know if I rank him as a pure distributor. He's not.
No. He's not one of those. He's not one of those guys. No, he's not a John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Magic Johnson type point guard.
Well, he's not a LeBron James. I can tell you that.
No, he's more of a scorer. And a lot of these guys, Skip, are masquerading as point guard. Yep. You look at the De'Aaron Foxes, and you look at all these guys that play Russell Westbrook, that play the Dame Lillard, that play the point guard. They're really two guards.
Okay, I got it. But he's in his 12th year, and this year he's getting the greenest of lights because he doesn't have, obviously, there's no more KD and there's no Clay.
Right.
He's averaging 30.4 points a game, which is his career high. They are 26 and 28, and they are struggling. They had a big win last night. That was impressive.
Yes.
I was highly impressed with that. But still, 26 and 28. Are they going to eke into the backside of the playoffs? I hope so.
They're trying to get to that 10 spot.
Yep.
Get to the 10, 7 through 10. You got play in.
You got a shot. Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to face Steph because I know he can get hot. He can make 12, 13 threes.
Can he?
He make 12, 13 threes, then what? You looking around like, coach, what you want me to do? I mean, I'm picking him up at half court, and he's letting it go from the logo.
Yeah. I just hope he gets more great opportunities in the postseason, and I wish he had.
I know where he can come. He can come down south and get him a great opportunity.
Some discussion about that.
Come on down
right?
south.
Yeah. Some people think that LeBron has been recruiting him at the All-Star
We need
game.
A few good men. You know, ain't that a slogan? Who had that
need
slogan?
a few. You need a lot.
Who need that? Ain't that an Army slogan? We need a few good men.
Yeah.
And if we get that guy, what does Smokey the Bear say, Skip? Only you can prevent forest fires.
Really?
It's over.
Yeah.
We burn the state up.
Huh?
Burn the state up.
Really?
Are you recruiting him as well over there?
I thought you guys went down in flames last night.
Now do that, Skip.
Madison.
No, we don't have to talk about it right now. No mercy. The Buccaneers will reportedly add another running back to their roster. Giovanni Bernard is expected to sign with Tampa thanks to Tom Brady and Bruce Arians reportedly recruiting the 8-year veteran. The 49ers and Jaguars were also interested in the running back, but Brady appeared to be the deciding factor, according to the report. So, Shannon, how much credit does Brady get for the Bucs roster here?
Skip, what is this?
What do you mean?
How hard is it to recruit somebody from Cincinnati? That's like somebody from Alabama recruiting somebody from JUCO. I mean, really? I mean, he got released from Cincinnati. So let me get this straight. Okay, I got an option. Here are my options. $1 million from Jacksonville or $1 million from Tampa Bay. How hard was it? How hard of a selling job is that, Skip? Giovanni Bernard, Brute Bernard, it doesn't matter. I could have recruited him. I mean, this ain't no... Y'all make it seem like they got Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey, Leonard, King Henry, Derrick Henry, Giovanni Bernard. Skip, really? Giovanni Bernard. This man got me up here talking about Giovanni. Now, the name is catchy. Got a great name. Ooh, I mean, when he was growing up, all the chicks loved that name. Giovanni, ooh, G.
Yeah.
But that's where it stopped. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip.
I didn't say a word.
You did say so. You got me up here talking about Giovanni.
Is it my turn?
No, you got me up here talking about Giovanni Bernard like they just got Dalvin Cook. Now, you got me get Dalvin Cook out of, ooh, man, it's over. Dalvin Cook, Tom Brady with the offensive line and those weapons, oh, yes. Giovanni Bernard? I'm looking, I don't see what, I mean, look, I get Tom Brady loves throwing the running backs, especially those that can catch. Leonard Fournette got decent hands. Rojo got decent hands. They're not great. They're not like James White. They don't catch the ball like Christian McCaffrey. They're not, if he got Alvin Kamara, now we talking, now you got all that, oh my goodness, Tampa got Alvin Kamara. They got Giovanni Bernard. You ought to be ashamed.
I haven't spoken. I don't know how I can do that.
This is nothing. I don't understand. Skip, I mean, this is. I mean, basically, he left JUCO. He left Kahoma, Hines, Itawamba, Ellsworth. That's what he did. He left Hutch. It's a step up, really. I can't believe you.
Yeah.
And you gonna talk about, oh, you watch what Tom Brady does with Giovanni Bernard. So now he Nat Geo.
So you should have recruited Giovanni Bernard because on this show you need all the help you can get. And you're about to need even more help on this topic because Tom Brady strikes again.
Strike what?
He couldn't quite get James White, so he got the next best thing. I thought they were capped out. They re-signed everybody. They're only the 5th team since the merger in 1970 to bring back every single starter intact. And they won the championship. And you said, there's no way they could sign all these guys. And it just kept going boom, boom, boom. The dominoes fell from Shaq to Sue to Levante to Gronk. Just boom, boom, boom. And you said, I don't know how they did it.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If he's such a great recruiter, why didn't he get James White?
I don't know. I guess he wanted to stay in New England.
No. He's a great recruiter. He played with James White. James White is the NFL record holder for most passes. I think he caught 14 passes in that comeback win against Atlanta. If he's such a great recruiter, why didn't he get James White to join him in Tampa as opposed to
You know what?
Giovanni Bernard?
There may be a good answer to that question. It's very possible that little did we know that maybe Tom Brady didn't want James White.
See, there you go. See what you did?
Maybe he decided James White was a little past his prime.
See what you did? You see what you did? Now, somebody turns Tom Brady down. Oh, maybe he didn't want him. But you see what Tom did? Tom got him to come. Tom got him to come.
How shocked were you when Tom Brady chose Tampa Bay? You were pretty surprised because you didn't see that coming.
But what did I tell you? When I sat back down, when the haze that he was actually, I thought he was going to leave, but when the haze cleared, I came out of my fog, I was up in my palatial estate,
Yeah, Bel Air.
Yeah. When the haze cleared, I was like, hold on. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, that defense, they got Devin White, he can play. Shaq Barrett just had 19 sacks, JPP. Okay, Levante David, they got a nice little squad now. If, the right break here or there, boom, boom. But I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you, James White, go back to New England, and then you turn around when he shuns the recruitment pitch of Tom Brady. Well, maybe Tom didn't want him. He wanted Giovanni Bernard.
When I heard this, I have a lot of respect for Gio Bernard because he is electric.
No, yeah.
And he's been lost in the shadows. And by the way, when they finally got a real quarterback, at least for a while this year, he had a big bounce back year. He had 771 combined yards. For him, that's pretty good because he doesn't get a lot of touches.
Why?
Because you don't need him to have a lot of touches.
Well, hold on.
He is icing on your cake.
I just want to know who was there first, him or Joe Mixon? I'm just trying to figure out why they took another running back. If Gio Bernard was so good, why would they take Joe Mixon?
Well, because he's not an every down back. He's a pass catcher out of the backfield. You know that.
How many passes he
Cincinnati was good with Andy Dalton, Gio was a factor. He was the one that kept you up at night trying to figure out how you're going to defend that.
Ain't nobody stayed up late at night trying to shit no Gio Bernard. Stop that.
Electric.
There you go. You just go overboard.
No, I don't.
You got the man.
They just added somebody else. The rich just got richer. Are you kidding?
You got people that just tuned in watching us. You talking about Gio Bernard like he Alvin Kamara.
No. Does he work for them? Does he work for Tom Brady? Want to bet he catches some big passes, and he can run after catch in ways that Fournette and Rojo can't run after catch. They're not electric backs.
He's not either.
You watch. He's only 29. He's got some football.
James White said, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay up here. I like the real Patriot way, not that old bootleg Patriot way that y'all got running down the Tampa."
So, are you giving Tom Brady zero credit for helping to build this roster?
Skip. Okay. Outside of Gronk, who did he recruit there?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio ain't there. He ain't there now.
He'll be there before all is said.
Oh, you gonna be there?
Yep.
You sure of that?
Well, you're sure of that. You've been saying it from day one. He'll wind up there. Okay. Because he has no other options. And he will come to his senses and realize, I got the GOAT on my side. The GOAT loves me, and the GOAT is going to make sure I do get my touches and targets.
Yeah, but he want money.
Well, he's not going to get it right now. Maybe another year from now, he will get some money.
Now, good well, they don't see that. That's the one, as you get older in the league, only quarterback.
Okay, I got it.
Get
but
paid.
If he has another big blowout year where he just becomes the primary receiver for the Buccaneers, he could make some money on the market.
You think some team going to trust him?
Well, they think he's just a product of that guy, like on and off the field.
I mean, you hear other teams are interested in AB, but they ain't trying to make that commitment. And what AB wants, a commitment. They say, we'll date.
Okay.
We'll go out here and there.
Yep. Seattle, maybe.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You ain't got no key. Because I didn't trust you. See, I gave you a key one time. Pittsburgh gave him the key. He come in, trash the plays.
He did.
Don't pick up after himself.
Yep.
They divorced. He go to Oakland. Oakland didn't I guess they don't have social media, so they gave him a key.
It lasted about 15 minutes.
Exactly. He come in there and do the same thing to their place. Okay. So they're like, nah. So all the other teams are like, nah, you can't get no key. We just gonna date. I just have to pick you up.
I'm sorry. You thought you correctly predicted that Tampa would lose maybe two of the three.
I did.
Shaq and Levante and Sue.
Yeah. I did.
All three resigned.
They did.
You don't think Brady had a lot to do with that?
Yeah, I'm sure they did, Skip.
Yep. Okay. We got to give him some credit here.
That was not the question. You talking about Gio Bernard.
Yeah. Love it. No. Luxury back. Again, they just won the championship.
A Geo isn't a luxury car. You know what a Geo is?
I know what it is.
I don't think they.
This is spelled G-I-O, not G-E-O.
You're close enough. Geo.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's I don't know what luxury you talking about.
Yeah.
But I ain't looking at Geo or Gio as a luxury item.
You realize we're getting this on tape, and you're going to have to eat those words next year when Gio has some big games with some big yak yards.
But see, what you gonna do, you gonna look at a guy, he get a first down. You see what he did? That's the Tom Brady effect.
And you're going to say, he's dinking and dunking to Gio, and he's running for 35 yards after catch. Yep, he is, because that's what he does.
But if Skip, if he that good, why Cincinnati ain't got no margin to let anybody go that can play.
They got him for the minimum.
Ta-da.
Yeah. Okay. They won it all.
Yes.
They got another nice little piece. He's a little piece, but he's a great piece. When I saw this yesterday, I just fell back and said, not again.
If you fell back because they got Gio Bernard, you need to.
Well, I told you, I thought my little man from Vanderbilt, Keyshawn Vaughn, I thought he was going to be Gio, but he's not quite ready. Down the line, he will turn into that. But as a rookie, he was not quite ready. And unfortunately, he got lost in Bruce Arians' doghouse at the end of the year.
He got to hold on to the ball. He get lost.
I don't know if Gio's going to appreciate your words, Shannon.
Yeah.
Come on, let him be
I think
an
you just
exciting
inspired
part
him.
of
He may
the
make the
team.
Pro Bowl now.
Roster.
Yeah.
And if so, I'm going to remember today.
No mercy.
Well, how about this? Luka Dončić showed off some cross-court skills before his game last night. During the pregame, he juggled the basketball like a soccer ball, then knocked down this ridiculous shot from out of bounds and way behind the backboard. I mean, let's just keep watching that. Shannon, was this even more amazing than what we see from Steph Curry before games?
Well, you see what Steph's impact on the game, Skip? Because Steph shoots the ball from the tunnel. I mean, at first he started shooting it from the sideline. He was on the bench, and then he backed up into the stands, and then he went to the tunnel. And so now he does it from the tunnel. It just goes to show you the impact that Steph Curry's had on this game. That was a very impressive shot, but he's going to have to do it more than once because we've seen Steph hit the tunnel shot more than once. Now, he's definitely hanging a letter on somebody if they're playing horse. Yeah, you know what, Skip? I'm not going to even tell that.
I would just say, next.
Yeah, exactly.
You got me. I'm H.
I'm not going to even let you. I'm not going to even give you the satisfaction of seeing me hit the back side of the rim or the backboard. But it just, Skip, that's why I'm not surprised now anymore when guys shoot logo threes and shoot half-court threes because they do this. This is what they do. Shoot around, ain't nobody really practicing. They working on stuff like this. So I'm not surprised when a guy shoots a shot with 15 seconds on the shot clock and it's from the logo or it's from half court. And nothing surprises me anymore because these guys practice. They're good. They're professional. They show Tom Brady was throwing and the target's moving. He hit it all 3 times. So I'm not surprised when in moments, big moments, that he's pinpoint accurate. So nothing really surprised me about a professional athlete in his sport doing things that's sports related. It was an unbelievable shot. I mean, how he was able, forget that, look, I've seen Steve Nash do this and bounce it off his head and alley-hoop the ball to Amari Stoudemire in the dunk contest, Skip. But it's the angle. I mean, you got to shoot that ball. I bet if I gave him 20 more chances, he couldn't do it. Do you believe he could do it?
No. I don't care about the soccer kicks. I don't care about bouncing it off his shoulder.
Right.
I care about the most severe angle of a shot I've ever seen made. It almost defies physics.
It does.
Like it won't go that way.
Right.
You can't shoot it high enough to drop it barely over the backboard from that distance behind the backboard.
Correct.
Steph's shots are more from the side.
Yes. He's got a greater margin of error.
Where you can see a glimpse of the orange rim.
Yeah.
You can, from where Steph's shooting in the tunnel, you can see just a piece of the rim. This way, you can see no rim.
Right.
You have to shoot it completely over the backboard.
And if that thing is gone, because you're shooting it from so far and so high, Skip, it hits any part other than just pure net, it's not going in.
Okay. So do you think he practices that? I don't know. But here's my issue with him, and I keep telling you this. Then he goes out and plays a game, and he makes 1 of 6 threes. And a couple nights back, he made 1 of 9 threes. So he's back to his old tricks, which are missing a whole bunch of threes.
He'd be right.
High volume, low make. He's not a very good three-point shooter. And it surprises me because they kind of go as he goes from the three-point line because he had a little hot streak and they got hot.
Right.
And now they've gotten cold again. And they're 1-3 in their last 4 games, and he's 8 of 32 in those games, 25%. Now he's fallen back to 36.6% for the year from 3. It's not good enough. It ranks 107th of 157 qualified. It's not good enough. This was your preseason MVP.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And again, his free throw shooting is just barely above LeBron's. It's 73.9%, which ranks 87th of 110. That's not good enough. If you're that guy, and some nights I watch him in the lane, I don't even know how he does it. He's stronger than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
He plays stronger. He Euro steps people out of their minds where they just can't defend it because he shoots off the wrong foot half the time.
Right.
There is no foot anymore. There's not a right foot.
Last night was a bad matchup for them because they don't really have a post. Even if, I'm not so sure even if Porzingis had a play, it would have been any different because he's too light in the back pocket. And then you bring Cauley Stein in to try to deal with Joel Embiid. That's why Joel Embiid had 36 points in 26 minutes and basically vaulted himself right back into the MVP discussion.
I'm glad you brought that up because I believe he's right back in the middle.
Because, Skip, the thing was, like LeBron injured out. Harden was like, I thought Harden had seized control. Now he's out. So it's going to be the last man standing. And you're going to have an anomaly season, Skip, where you're going to have an MVP, possibly someone win this award that's missed, and probably going to be Joel Embiid, Skip, that's missed 20, 25 ball games, which is unheard of. But, Jokic is having an unbelievable season, but I don't really know how much farther they're going to move. It looks like Murray's injury is serious.
It seemed like it was. I'm going to knock on wood for him because I haven't heard the end of the imaging that they needed.
It looks serious, Skip. Non-contact, you go down like that.
And he'd been having some trouble with that knee already, and it looked like it went a little wonky sideways. And it just looked, it was non-contact. But
which is never good. And, he didn't want the wheelchair, but they had to help him up off the court. Ooh. So, I don't know, but Luka, I mean, like I said, I'm with you. The soccer, the bouncing off your foot and off your shoulder. No. It was the end that's so amazing.
Okay. Then speaking of the end of the game came, and
I knew you were going to say this.
He's got to get better at this. He's got this diva crybaby body language, and then he goes straight to his postgame interview, and what does he say? I don't have any use for the play-in tournament. We don't need the play-in tournament. Well, it's a new direction for your league, and it's going to help make some money, right? Yeah. That's the whole idea.
You like getting paid, right? You like money, right?
Getting paid, right?
So they got to make up some of these games somehow.
It's going to create more interest. Right. I'm interested. Right. You're interested. We'll talk about it.
You think this is a one-time thing because of the pandemic? We're coming out of pandemic, or do you believe going forward, when they have an 82-game season, they're also going to have a 7-10 play-in?
Well, I don't know because we have to see how it plays out. Right. Like how does it? Do people take to it? Usually, my experience with these leagues, the more the merrier. Right. When they add playoff slots, as the NFL
and plus, because, Skip, they saw what the 7-8 play-in game was like, what 8-9 play-in game was like last year. There was a lot of buzz.
It was fun.
Yeah. So now you're going to get 7 through 10. Yeah. And what, you got to win 2 games? I mean, I guess if 7 beats 8, they're in. Yeah. And then 9 and 10, if 10 beats 9, you got to play another game or something like that.
I thought he was just belly aching after the game because they got blown out off the floor.
Joel Embiid had 36 points in 26 minutes.
Right, and they were trying to double him, and he would just turn it on people and shooting 12-foot jump shots, and then glaring at the Dallas bench, and it was humiliating because it was in Dallas. Yeah. And they're 4 games over 500, now fallen to the 7th seed. Right. And so Luka's like, we're better than that. We don't need to be in any play-in.
I can't tell.
Yeah, I can't either.
I mean, you are what you reckon say you are. Yep. First of all, Luka, you came in out of shape. That's your fault. That's on you. You played yourself in shape, but you had given up so many games early. This is the situation that you find yourself in.
True.
And Porzingis missed the first half was probably about 10, 15 games because I don't think he started playing until January sometime. Yeah. So, and plus now you got to play he can't play back-to-backs. He's playing like every other game or every 2-3 games.
Yep. So maybe Luka should start shooting his threes from way behind the backboard.
There you go.
Well, he could, maybe.
There you go.
Would they let that? They might allow it because it's high degree of difficulty.
No.
He might make some of those, right?
No.
You don't think so?
He's still the baddest player under 25.
Well, he's the baby sparrow. Maybe not
Baby
but I'll give you his
Bird. Baby Bird. That's what everybody calls him?
No, nobody calls him that.
Yeah, they do.
No. Larry Bird could actually shoot.
Oh, he can shoot too.
Oh, he can?
Skip.
I can't tell.
You do realize Luka is only 21, right? Or he's 21 or 22 now?
I think he's 22.
Okay, 22.
He played pro basketball in Europe for like 6 years. So
that should tell you something.
Yep.
Ain't very many people send their babies out to go play with grown men.
Yeah.
That's what he did. His mama say, hey, you too good to play with kids your age.
The biggest baby is playing for the Pelicans, and he is playing like baby Huey. He is just killing people.
He
hey.
He a little turnaround jumper last night. Where'd that come from, Zion?
Zion.
Oh, he a little turnaround jumper last night. That impressed me last night.
Yeah, he kind of had an off night, had 30. It's okay.
B.I. though, it was B.I.
Yeah, B.I. was good last night.
Can we trade Kuzma for B.I.?
No.
No mercy.
The Patriots and Cowboys both suffered seasons below 500 last year, but in 2021, things might be turning around for the two popular franchises. According to Fox Bet Sportsbook, New England and Dallas's win totals for this season both sit at 9.5. So, Shannon, who wins more games this season, Dallas or New England?
Yeah, Shannon.
The Dallas Cowboys going to be the first team to not have a winning or a losing record. They're going to finish the season 8-1. It's going to be the first time. I got money on that. Fox Bet, let's make that happen.
Who are they going to tie? Washington?
Nah, we gonna beat
Fitzmagic?
No, Fitzmagic gonna beat y'all twice.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to because Skip, for the longest time, we say 9-7. Longest time we say 10-6.
Okay.
Now it's gonna be 9-8 or 10-7. I'm gonna say the Patriots go 11.
11?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be conservative. Like I said, I ain't gonna jinx it. I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna go 10-7.
Okay.
And the Cowboys gonna be 9-8.
9-8.
Yep.
Okay.
There's no excuse for the Patriots this year. They've basically done a complete overhaul. The receiving core, Coach Belichick says, we're not good enough. He goes out and signs Nelson Aguilar. They signed, Kendrick Bourne. They said, my tight end group, you're not good enough. They go get Hunter Henry. They go get Jonnu Smith. Defensively, I can scheme. I believe my schemes are as good, if not better, than Wink Martindale. I believe I can get better use out of Matthew Judon than what they're getting from him in Baltimore.
Better hope so.
So for me, Skip, and Cam is a year further removed from surgery, so he should be training instead of rehabbing now. So there are no excuses. Now, they're in a very tough division. Buffalo ain't going anywhere. We're going to talk about Miami potential, what they can possibly do. They might move up in the draft. So Miami, and I believe Miami is going to be good. So I'm going to say I'm going to be conservative. Mm-hmm. Knowing Coach Belichick, after a year, that nasty taste in his mouth, 10-7.
10-7.
Yep.
Okay, the irony of us choosing this topic before the show started very early this morning here in Los Angeles is that Mel Kiper has come out with his new mock draft, and we're going to discuss this further in just a little while here on the show. Yep. But it applies to this topic because Mel has Cowboys trading places with New England. New England goes up to 10 to take Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Cowboys go backward. We'll talk about that later. They do get, according to Mel, they would get a first-rounder next year. Wouldn't help this year.
Right.
Okay, I don't love that for my Cowboys.
Why?
And yet it could muddy the water a little bit for your Patriots because how quickly would you throw Justin Fields into the fray?
Not quickly. He's not playing this year unless Cam get hurt.
Not at all.
At all.
I don't know about that. If you traded up to get him, you just might want to get him some...
What part about at all didn't you get, Skip?
Well, you don't coach the team.
I know Coach Belichick.
Yeah, but Coach Belichick is going to want to show off his prize that he just stole in the draft.
We're going to shine it up first.
Yeah, okay. And the other thing that will apply here is that Mel Kiper also has the Miami Dolphins trading back up to get Kyle Pitts, who's my favorite player in the draft. Yeah. Doesn't play quarterback, obviously. I told you he'll be more valuable at his position than any quarterback will be at his. Well, that would put him in your division with your man Tua. Yeah. If, in fact, Tua's the guy, I guess they're going forward with Tua. That would be a huge help to Tua to have Kyle Pitts,
absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that would mean, here's how I have the Patriots going. I say they go 3-3 in their division because they're not going to beat Buffalo either time. I'm sorry.
But they're going to get one on Buffalo.
No, they will not. and they will split with Miami, and they'll beat the Jets twice. So that gives them a 3-3 division record. Then they have some pretty easy home games. I got them going 3-3 at home, but they're going to lose to Cleveland, to Dallas. Dallas plays there, and that's going to be huge.
I guarantee you. We already got cases on that one.
Okay. I got Dallas in that game. Because I got Dak over Cam. I'm sorry. Dak's just better than Cam Newton at this stage and this age. He has better weapons than Cam will have.
It don't matter what kind of weapon you got. Do you know how to use it?
We'll be good in that game. We're going to win that game. And then I'll give you a couple other, but you're also going to lose at home to Tampa Bay.
Oh, we got to do on that too.
You're going to lose that game. And then you got road games. You got 5 road games. I'm going to give you 3-2 in your road games because you got 3 fairly easy ones at Atlanta, at Carolina, at Houston. You're going to lose at Indy, and you're going to lose at the Chargers. That's what I believe. So I'm going to give you 3-2, and that adds up to 9-8. Then we take the Cowboys. Within the division, I got the best quarterback in the division, and I think even you can't argue with that.
You got buying the sausage. You remember we did it yesterday?
But the rest of them are hot dogs and
spam and
bologna, okay? Boy, that makes me sick just thinking about it. Okay, so I got Vienna sausages at quarterback now.
Yeah, that's what you got.
And that means I go 4-2 in the division and win the division. I told you, that's pretty easy. That's just done.
What about Fitzpatrick?
Okay, we'll get him. We got him. He might get us once.
Brady.
I said I'm going to lose 2 games.
You say he beat Brady, but he can't beat Dak.
Well, he'll beat us at Washington.
He'll beat y'all at home, too.
Yeah. And then we have a fairly easy home schedule. You got to give me this. I'm going 4-1 at home because I got Atlanta, Carolina, Denver. Drew Lock, really? He's been schooled by Peyton now. Is that going to change his life?
Guess what, Skip? You know what they're saying? Say, man, I rode. They looking at y'all on the road. They're like, oh, we got an easy road schedule. We got Dallas. We got Dallas. Atlanta,
Carolina, Denver, Las Vegas, and Arizona. We can win 4 of those games.
You losing at least 2. I got you going. How many games is that? How many games you said that is?
4-1. 5 games.
Y'all losing 3 of those.
No.
Y'all losing 3 of those.
And then we go to the road games. We're going to figure out a way to steal 2 of these games on the road because one is going to be at New England.
Loss.
Yeah. And we go at Kansas City.
Loss. We got due on that. We definitely got due on that one.
Okay. At Minnesota. We won last year with Andy Dalton at quarterback. No.
You're going to be better.
Dak owns Kirk Cousins. Just flat out owns him. Just beat him like a Drummond. Who got beat last night. I don't know. I don't want to don't get me started on that. But Dak owns him, and Dak. If I got Dak back in the saddle at Minnesota, they can win that game.
Dalvin Cook gonna run wild. Dalvin Cook gonna have 200.
Okay, and then we have to go to Tampa.
Oh yeah, we got to do on that one too.
Yeah, we have to go to New Orleans, but I think we got a shot. We're going to win 2 of these games. We're going to be much better than you give us credit for.
Well, you might be 8. Well, I had 8-1. I'm thinking 8-9 now.
I just added up 10-7. So I got 10-7 versus 9-8, which I got Dallas winning the division. You don't got New England winning no division.
No, but I got us 10-7.
Okay. 10-7.
Yeah, I got them 10-7.
No.
Got y'all at best, you're 9-8 or 8-1. Those are your 2 choices. Now, which one do you want?
You desperately overspent for overrated free agent acquisitions. Everybody agrees with that except you, who overreacted on day one, and now you backed yourself into a corner. They're not that much better than they were a year ago.
And you guys are not that good, so you can just stand pat. How about that? So if New England overspent because they were trying to get better, you guys weren't good enough to just stand pat. How about that?
All we needed was our quarterback back, and we got him
I'm just
back.
trying to figure out, I've never seen in the history of sports a guy that got injured all of a sudden got better. Now, they wouldn't pay this guy for 2.5 years. They wouldn't pay that. Now he breaks his ankle. Now they talking about, well, you know what? He better than Patrick Mahomes.
Is he better than Andy Dalton? Is he better than Garrett Gilbert? Is he better than Ben Anthony DiNucci, B.A.D.?
What about your defense? Are you not going to give up 300 yards, 290, 250, 190, 185, 155? Are you going to stop giving up huge chunks of yards on the ground? Yes or no?
According to Mel Kiper, we are about to land J.C. Horn out of the University of South Carolina.
Did he tackle?
No, he's a corner.
Oh. So y'all can't stop the run. Y'all still not going to be able to stop the run.
We're good. We'll be much better. We still got Neville Gallimore in there, just manning the fort.
Did he that last year?
Yep. He came on strong at the end of the year.
Skip, y'all got to run out the building.
Yep. DeMarcus Lawrence will be better. Randy Gregory will be better. Aldon Smith just might be back in the saddle also.
Be better than what?
Yep.
You keep saying they're going to be better than what?
Tristan Hill will be back from injury. We will be better. Wolf Hunter will be better. Wolf Hunter will be healthy.
Didn't they send Tristan Hill down?
Yep, they did for a while.
Uh-huh.
He's come of age right before your very eyes.
Uh-oh.
Jalen Smith. Yeah, and now
really?
I actually got some safeties. I got Keanu Neal playing linebacker as a safety at linebacker. That's an upgrade. He made a Pro Bowl in 2017.
As a safety, not as a linebacker.
Okay. Well, he'll be better at linebacker. He's lost a little speed. He's had an ACL and he's had an Achilles.
What about your line? What about Wolf Hunter? Missing tackles left and right.
No.
Jalen Smith.
As long as he doesn't miss games, I'll be good.
Oh, so you want him in the game to miss tackles?
Okay. I'm good. My defense will be 50% better than it was last year.
Watch that 2 tight end set. Nobody is better than the 2 tight end set than New England.
Really?
You know that.
Huh. So they got Gronk and Aaron Hernandez
No,
back.
they don't have
I think
Gronk.
not.
No.
You're much overrated.
But they got better than what they had the last 2 years. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, except you got Cam, and he's battered. He's an old war horse right now who can't muster up what it's not going to be 2015 Cam.
Well, Skip, your guy refurbished too now. You make it seem like your guy in pristine condition.
He may not be.
Okay, then.
That's a little bit of an X factor.
Okay.
I do agree, but he's much younger than Cam.
I don't go much younger.
And Cam will be splitting time with Justin Fields, and you might have some issues.
First of all, he's not much younger than Cam. How old's Dak? 28?
I forget.
Dak, no.
Cam young.
Yeah.
26?
Okay.
Let me look. 27, Dak.
Dak
July
27,
29th
Cam what, 30, 31? Tops.
What is he, 32?
Just over 30?
Nah.
No. Not
MVP.
gonna happen for you?
Okay. Like you tell me,
31.
Skip, he's been an MVP. That's what you throw at me all the time with Andy Dalton. He did take him to 5 playoff appearances. He did win the division.
Okay.
Using the word refurbished for a quarterback, Shannon, I don't know if they're going to appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what he always talk about everybody else battered.
Yeah, I mean, they're fine. Dak's fine. He recovered. He's rested. He's ready. You saw him throwing the football. He's feeling good.
Can I interest you in that?
Let's Skip
I'll
be
bet you they don't have a
optimistic,
one.
Shannon, for now. Please, 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 please. I don't think Tom, though, is missing his time in New England. No mercy. Saturday on Fox, MLS is back. Catch Austin FC as they make their league debut against LAFC. The action kicks off at 5:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. So Tom Brady heading to Tampa may have won a Super Bowl for the Buccaneers, but it didn't get them the Best Transaction of the Year award. The MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference gave that award to the Cardinals for their trade with the Texans for wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. So Shannon, should the Bucs signing Brady have won this award in your opinion?
Skip, without knowing how they did it, I guess they just looked at a transaction as a trade, and they don't look at his free agency or anything like that. Because obviously, Skip, the quarterback is not always the best player on the team, but he's always the most important. And it's hard for you to win championships without getting great quarterback play. And so for me, I think just looking at it, they said, okay, transaction, we're doing via trade. Because clearly, Tom Brady, a quarterback of his stature, changing teams and doing what they did, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's not even up for discussion. But I guess they're just looking at the trade is the only explanation that I have, Skip, for you. Because I can't make a case that DeAndre Hopkins is more valuable, more important than Tom Brady because he doesn't play a position. He doesn't have the ball in his hand on every single play.
Yep.
He can't impact the game like a quarterback can. He can have an impact on the game, but he can't impact the game like Brady can, or any of the top quarterbacks, or any quarterback for that matter. So for me, that's the only thing that I can say, Skip, is that it was a trade. And when trades are involved, there's a great chance that there are other teams that are involved. I don't really think there was any other team involved with Tom Brady. He picks up the phone, says, I want to come to Tampa. Click. He didn't call anybody else, Skip. He didn't call, say, obviously, they're probably, you hear San Diego was interested. The 49ers thought about kicking the tires. They said no. Tom Brady picks up the phone, calls Jason Light and says, I want to come to Tampa.
Yep.
Bruce, you're never going to believe this. I just got a phone call. Okay, you saw a ghost. From who? Tom Brady. He said they want to come here. Why are you in my office? Why did you fly to Boston or wherever he is? Just get his name on the dotted line before he changes his mind. That's what if I'm BA. That's what I would have said. So Skip, that's the only explanation that I have for you is that they said transaction is trade because any other if you use any other metric, analytics, or however you want to judge this, Tom Brady would be the biggest transaction if you include trades and free agency.
Okay, so I'm with you. This award from the MIT conference was about steal of a deal.
Right.
And it was a deal, obviously, because they just took Bill O'Brien.
They swindled
him.
Yeah,
they should be in jail for this one, right?
Yes.
But they did pull it off. But then again, they pulled it off and it got them where? Well, it didn't even get them to the playoffs last year because the quarterback got beat up and he did not play well down the stretch after they got to, 6-3, I think, at one point.
Right.
It looked like they were on the road.
Yep, they're in front of the division, leading the division.
Okay, so they didn't even make the playoffs, while to me, and feel free to take issue, but Tom Brady was the greatest free agent signing in the history of this league.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
Peyton was a great one. And Peyton basically knocked on that door, too.
He did,
Right? He picked them.
Yes.
But Peyton wasn't even a hot property at all at that point because a lot of people thought he just couldn't even play anymore.
Well, there were 3 teams in the running, Tennessee, Arizona, and the Broncos.
Yep.
Obviously, Tennessee, we know what he thinks Tennessee. He played in the state of Tennessee.
He did.
I think he might still have a home there. I'm not sure. I know he resides in Denver now.
I thought it was in Chattanooga.
He might, yeah. So Tennessee, Arizona, with Wizen Hunt. And then, you look at the Broncos. John Elway running it, played late and won Super Bowls late in his career. You look at that roster. You got Demaryius Thomas. You got Julius Thomas. You got Eric Decker. You got Noshawn Marino in the backfield. You got a solid offensive line led by Ryan Clay, the left tackle. A defense that's up and coming. Like, okay. And then we know what they became. They ended up going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1.
Yep.
He wins an MVP.
Okay. So the point is, it took Peyton 4 years in Denver to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He did get to the one, and they got blown out by Seattle. Second year. But the 4th season, they broke through, and it became his final season in Denver against Cam and company. Okay, so I'll give you that one down the line. Drew Brees was a great signing.
Yeah.
But that acquisition didn't pay off until the 4th year he was there when they broke through and won their one and only Super Bowl.
Correct.
Okay, so I'll give you that. But Tom Brady took a franchise that had not been to the playoffs since 2007, had not won a playoff game since that 2002 season. The great Derek Brooks and company won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay, so the Super Bowl following the 2002 season was the last playoff game the Succaneers had won. And then they proceeded to become the worst franchise in all of sports in winning percentage for their lifetime, right?
Yep.
So he chose the Succaneers, and in a pandemic year with no preseason games, they go win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Well, to me, hands down, that should be the acquisition of the year, but it wasn't via trade.
Right.
And as you say, it was a no-brainer. He knocked on your door.
Right.
Now, they could have said no.
Right. And I guess and plus, Skip, a transaction, that means something of value came back to the other side.
Yeah.
Well, did New England get anything? Do they lose get a compensatory pick this year or something? I don't know how that worked. But they're saying, you look at what Arizona gave up to get a top 2, top 3 receiver in all of football.
Yeah.
They gave up David Johnson and what?
Okay. So here's what continues to baffle me about this whole syndrome in Tampa that gets overlooked. So the Buccaneers, even though Tom Brady said, look what's there, as you said, they got that, and that.
Right.
Well, guess how many Pro Bowlers they had last regular season? They had 1 reserve in JPP. That's it, 1 reserve.
Right. And I think this year, Skip, they're gonna make up for it. So you watch Levante David, Devin White, Tristan Wirth. They'll have more, because a lot of times, Skip, it's the year after.
Maybe.
It's the year. Now, you watch tonight. They'll make up.
Well, speaking of the year after, Kansas City last regular season had 7, including 6 starters. And I thought Frank Clark was a candidate to be a starter, but you knew who they were: Mahomes and Kelsey and Tyreek,
Chris Jones,
and
Honey Badger.
And then Frank Clark is a reserve.
Right.
but you could have had 7 starters, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Tampa had 1 reserve. So my Cowboys and the Panthers, the only 2 teams with 0 Pro Bowlers last year.
Well, you shouldn't have had any.
Okay, but the Giants had 2 Pro Bowlers.
They should have.
Bradbury and Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Okay, so they had 2 Pro Bowlers versus 1 for Tampa Bay.
Y'all had
Really?
none.
Okay, I got that. And we deserve to have none.
Yeah, exactly.
But we were injury ravaged.
Hey,
Yeah. So then we get down to Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I told you from midseason on, Antoine Winfield Jr., he's the heart and soul of that defense. He's the quarterback of the defense. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year. Chase Young won it off reputation that he brought from Ohio State.
Yeah, Skip, but it's hard for a DB. I think you got to go back to what? Maybe Charles Woodson? The DB to win Defensive Player, a Rookie of the Year, Skip? Normally,
care.
you know, it's linebackers and D linemen. It's going to be an Aaron Donald, or it's going to be a linebacker. It's going to be a lineman like that.
So Antoine Winfield finished 5th in that voting.
Right.
Chase Young, who basically ran away with it.
Yeah, especially the guy makes the Pro Bowl. He's starting the Pro Bowl. It's going to be hard.
Okay, so this team got no recognition whatsoever, even from the MIT on Maneuver of the Year.
Right.
And
they good with analytics, Skip. You know, MIT, they good with
I'd
analytics.
say they are. And yet, I know how to count to 8.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happened after the bye week, the late year bye week. Brady and company won 8 straight games, including games at Washington, at New Orleans, at Lambeau, and at home against Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
But see, Skip, this is where analytics get you in trouble.
Yep.
What did your eye tell you? What was the biggest move in the offseason? What did your eyes tell you? What does the resume say? What does the end result say?
Yep.
I got to get all that other stuff. And you want to do, like I said, you want to do something that Tampa didn't, New England didn't have to give up anything.
Yep.
And he did. I get all that. But see, the analytics, they want you to believe the numbers. Okay, what I just saw. I saw a guy where the 3 is a better shot. It ain't better than the guy that got an opportunity. A 3 is only better than a 2, Skip, if you make the 3.
Yep.
If I got a layup, Skip, I'm right there. Why would I pass it out? Because the 3 is more than 2. I get DeAndre Hopkins. He's great. But a quarterback of that ilk, a top 5 quarterback, no.
Okay.
No.
And finally, Tom Brady did not even make the Pro Bowl last year because my man Kyler Murray made it.
He should have.
Should he?
Yeah.
No, you're not all in on Kyler.
I mean, okay, the 2 are no-brainers. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Those are slam dunk no-brainers. Okay, why are we even discussing? Okay, the 3rd.
Pro Football Focus said Tom Brady graded out the 2nd best quarterback in the National Football League in the regular season.
What did the fans, the players, and the coaches say? What did the fans, the players, and the coaches say?
So did Kyler win it off one throw to aforementioned DeAndre Hopkins?
What did the fan? Now, I would like to think that Tom Brady has a bigger fan base than Kyler Murray. I would think the players, given Tom Brady's body of work and resume, is more impressive than Kyler. The coaches that have been going against this man. Now, 3 people said, nah, the little guy.
Okay, but the little guy has no Kyler hate. Brady has nothing but straight Brady
Not
hate.
from the players. The players all speak. No, the players.
No, but they're resentful.
You know what's going to be interesting? The players list top 100. Where you think Brady come in at?
Ooh.
Yeah. We already know who's going to be number 1. That old guy, the guy in Green Bay. He going to be number 1.
He's
we know
going to be number 1?
He going to be number 1.
The guy who's now 1-4 and
that guy going to be the number 1.
The guy who's the bogus Jeopardy host?
All right, where Brady going to be?
He'll probably be 101. I hope he is, because that'll drive him to another.
Man, he going to be no 1. Is he top 5?
Top 5?
You think he top 5?
Heck no. You don't think so?
The players list?
No way.
No mercy.
Some team's going to be very lucky to have the worst record in first pick.
I think 16 is the best player on the planet.
Wilson keeps it. Jimmy's in for the score. He is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football.
Mac Jones has been tremendous.
Mac Jones, for me, is the 2nd best quarterback in this field.
Fields just continues to be brilliant. Wow. Justin Fields put that one on the money. Wow.
Love that stuff. All right, guys, here's the latest. Mel Kiper's newest NFL mock draft is out, and there are a couple of interesting trades he has in the first round. The mock has the Patriots trading up to the 10th spot from the Cowboys with New England, taking quarterback Justin Fields. In return, the Cowboys slide down 5 spots where they'd get corner J.C. Horn, and they would also get the Patriots' 2022 first-round pick. The other interesting one is Miami swapping with Atlanta so the Dolphins can grab Kyle Pitts at number 4, leaving Falcons Trey Lance at 6. So, Shannon, what do you make of these potential trades?
Well, I really love it for Miami because the best way to ensure your young quarterback has success is to give him as many weapons as you possibly can.
Yep.
They already have Gesicki. Kyle Pitts, I believe, might be the best player in this draft. I know a lot of people have him as the second best player, but I believe he's better at his position than any of the other players are at their position.
I think I've said that a few times.
Yes, and I agree with you, Skip. Watching him play, the tape matches what you see the way he tested. And that's what you hope. Tape is exemplary. He performed exemplary in his workout.
Yep.
So I like that move because, you don't believe Tua's the guy. I want to see him with weapons and see what he can do. And I think that's what Brian Flores wants to do. They want to give him as many. They want to set him up for success as much as possible because we see Patrick Mahomes. What did Andy? Andy, got a Tyreek, got a Travis Kelce, speed to showcase what the guy really does really well. New England, they believe they need a quarterback. Coach Belichick believed that he had his guy 4 years ago before Mr. Kraft made him get rid of Jimmy G.
He did.
He didn't want to be in a situation, Skip, where you wait till the very end. The guy says, I'm walking out the door, and now we got to scramble to get a quarterback. We had him groomed. He was ready to take over. Mr. Kraft shot a hole in that plan. Now, that's why he said, hey, Bob, it's all your fault that we like this. I'm going to need you to spend about $175 million in free agents because it was your fault that we're in this position.
That is true.
So I love it, Skip. But for the Cowboys, Skip, to trade back, I don't believe that. I guess when they look at it, Skip, there's not a whole lot of difference between Surtain and Horn. And they say, well, if we stay at 10, we get past Surtain. If we move back to 15, we still possibly could get J.C. Horn. That's not bad. And we pick up another first rounder next year. Or we could possibly, Skip, trade that first rounder and come back into the first round this year if there's somebody we like.
Yep.
So I like it all the way around because New England could possibly get a quarterback that's going to move them to the future. Miami gets the best player or one of the 2-3 best players in the draft to help their young quarterback, and Dallas can get a defensive guy and maybe trade next year's first-round pick that they got by trading out of that spot from New England and come back in and get another defensive guy. So I like this move all around for everybody.
And I do not. I despise it for my Dallas Cowboys. I don't like anything about this.
You sold on Surtain, huh?
I am so sold. That is the player I circled 3 months ago. He is sitting right there. And guess who Mel has taking him? Our arch rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, would snap him up at number 12.
They need him.
They need him, too. I agree with you. I don't know J.C. Horn well enough. Maybe I'm missing the boat. Maybe
you like pedigree. His dad played.
His dad played, but he didn't play that position. And Patrick Surtain's dad was a stud at that position, like father, like son. The son is, as Mel says, the most fundamentally sound defensive back in the class. He just is that.
He is.
You can plug and play. You just put him in there. It's not going to be too big for him. It's not going to be too fast for him.
Right.
He's long. He's strong.
He
can play the run. He can play the ball at its apex. He's a leaper. I just love everything about him. He's one of those guys who could start for the next 10 or 12 years for you and make, 3 or 4 Pro Bowls.
Yes.
And you'd be good to go.
Right.
You'd have the bookend Alabama corners. Trevon Diggs, who showed me flashes of brilliance last year.
Well, Skip, you got to think about it now. Marlon Humphrey, his dad was a running back. You see how Marlon transitioned, so J.C. Horn might be.
I don't know. I didn't watch enough. I see the highlights. He's another long corner.
He is.
And he's a man corner, and I get that. But as Mel points out, the knock on Horn is that he had only 2 career interceptions.
Well, maybe
is
they
he
went
a
throwing
ball
at him.
hawk?
Maybe they went throwing at him.
Maybe. I just don't love it even to acquire a first-rounder next year. I want Bird in the hand. I want Patrick Surtain. I don't want to trade with Bill Belichick. I don't want to.
You don't want to help us.
Cause. No, I don't want to help New England.
That's what it is. Because you don't want Coach Belichick. Because, see, right now, Coach Belichick is down. He let Tom Brady go. And as long as Coach Belichick is not winning anything, it furthers your case that Tom Brady was the reason why they were having all this success. So if Coach Belichick were to rise up, all of a sudden now you're going to have to rethink, and a lot of others who are in your camp that think that Brady was the main reason is going to have to rethink that. If Coach Belichick get him a quarterback, let that man get him a quarterback and see what he can do.
I am more optimistic than pessimistic about Justin Fields, but we both have had our issues with Justin because I watched him the whole game against Indiana, and he threw 3 interceptions, and he threw for a bunch of yards, but I was like, really?
Right.
Indiana, and it became a shootout that didn't deserve.
The game was closer than it should have been.
Well, no. And then I watched Big Ten Championship against Northwestern. I know Northwestern was a live dog because they came in just chomping at the bit, and they played the hell out of Ohio State in the championship game, and Justin Fields had a long, hard day in that game. He was he's pretty average.
But you say Coach Belichick don't know what he's doing in the draft, so why you care if you'll trade up with him? He probably messing up anyway.
Want Patrick Surtain. I don't want to take second helping of J.C. Horn. That's what it would feel like to me.
Well, Brady was the eighth helping.
I especially don't want to leave him to Philadelphia, and then he's going to come back and haunt me for the next 10 or 12 years.
What helping was Brady?
What helping?
Yeah. He was 6th-round pick. He had to be like 15, 16.
Did Bill Belichick have anything to do with that choice? Not really.
Yeah, Coach Belichick. That's Coach Belichick.
The scout talked him, and he's like, okay, I'll take a flyer.
That's Coach Belichick.
Take a flyer.
When do you know somebody talk Coach Belichick into doing anything?
No, I don't know. I'm not going to give him any credit.
Exactly. You don't want the man to get on his feet. The man down.
Made the team the first year.
The man down, Skip.
Okay, so I get what you're talking about. Listen, Kyle Pitts is transcendent.
Yeah.
He is a life changer. He is freakishly gifted. He is Megatron at tight end. And then I don't know what you even call him. He's not really a tight end anymore.
Right.
He's whatever you want him to be. And if Tua can play, he'll make Tua go.
You want this to happen because guess what? It's another great player in that division that greatly undermines that Coach Belichick is going to have to deal with. And so as long as Coach Belichick can struggle, you're going to feel good about it.
Yeah, I will. That would make life a little harder on New England.
Why you want to make the man life harder, Skip? Okay, Skip, you got left. He won the Super Bowl.
He's getting exposed. He got way too much credit. You're giving him 75% of the credit.
About to give him 80 when he get back, when he win the division.
Yeah, Brady's the one who deserves 80%. And by the way, the Atlanta Falcons, I like this. If they end up trading back a little bit to 6.
Yeah.
To get Trey Lance, and I keep telling you, he's the X factor. I don't know his game, but I know the numbers, and the numbers just scream, better take a shot.
But hold on. But so the Cowboys are assuming, well, I guess that's only contingent if Trey Lance is still on the board at that point in time.
Okay.
Because who's to say if Atlanta trades from 4 to 6, they don't take Trey Lance?
Who?
The Falcons.
Well, that's who he's got. He's got the Falcons taking Trey Lance at 6.
Oh, you Justin Fields. Yeah, Justin Fields.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good shot for Atlanta
and get a first because think about it, Skip. Arthur Smith, the offense that he runs, he likes a mobile quarterback. Tannehill can move. They run a lot of bootlegs.
I got it.
They move the pocket a lot.
Yep.
Matt Ryan, I don't know.
Jerry, do not do it. Do not take this bait.
No mercy. Patrick Mahomes is looking to take yet another step forward this offseason, according to NFL Network's James Palmer. Mahomes is focused on becoming a more efficient quarterback when it comes to moving the ball down the field. It's the latest focus Mahomes has in what Palmer described as the QB's pursuit of becoming a more complete quarterback. So, Shannon, does Mahomes need to be more efficient?
Skip, I think as any great player, Skip, you always try to find ways to improve your game. But when you look at it, with the way this offense is constructed, Skip, it's hard to complete 70% of your passes when you push the ball down the field as much as he does. Because if you look at it, the reason why they moved on from Alex Smith was efficient, but they kept getting bounced in the wild card game in the divisional round of the playoffs because he couldn't push the ball down the field. Skip, these are Patrick Mahomes' numbers since he's been a starter. He's averaged 38 touchdowns a season. That's first. He's averaged 4,600 passing yards. That's second. He averaged 308 passing yards a game. That's first. All the while throwing less than 8 interceptions on 66% completion. When a guy throws the ball down the field as much as he does, he can be more efficient if they ran more screens, if he checked the ball down more, if he threw the ball to the running back. But he's throwing the balls 50 and 60 yards. You don't get a guy that catches for 203 yards in the first quarter, Skip, without throwing the ball 60, 70 yards down the field. You don't have a tight end that has over 100 catches by just throwing shallow crosses. You push the ball down the field. I understand that he wants to get better, and rightfully so. That's what the greats do. Tom Brady finds something and tries to get better at it. But I don't know how much more efficient he's going to get unless he alters the way he plays, which is take the check down. Because, Skip, you know, to become efficient, you can't be doing the circus stuff. You can't be rolling and throwing it back across your body. You can't be throwing no look passes, Skip.
Okay.
So, is he working on, well, you know what? I ain't going to do it. That's in him. That's what makes him great. That's what makes him Patrick Mahomes.
I hear everything you just said, but this is what I believe is happening right here, right now. I think Patrick Mahomes got spanked twice by Tom Brady in big playoff games, and I think he is seeing the light. It's not about left-handed passes. It's not about no looks. It's not about wild, mad scrambles and escapes. It's about consistent textbook efficiency from the pocket. In the end, that's what wins championships. In the end, that's how you do this. And he's highly capable of being a little more efficient than he has been because he's not consistently lethal. He'll self-destruct on occasion. He had 3 games last year that were not very good against Brian Hoyer at Kansas City when he started for New England, and he had a QBR of 56, which is just barely above average. In that Las Vegas game, it became a shootout, and he was great at the end, but he was 22 of 43. That's barely. But he 50%. Wanted it at the end. I thought you said you liked the guy. Okay. No, I got it, but you were barely 50% completions that game, and then he went to Denver and went 0 for 8 on third down. Remember that game? Threw for barely 200 yards, had a QBR of 45. Then I look at his 2 Super Bowl games, and I'm sorry, Shannon, not good enough. If he's that guy, if he is transcendent, if he's going to be my homeboy, you have to be a little better than this in those 2. Against San Francisco, we know that he threw late third quarter interception, early fourth quarter interception. He had a QBR of 64 with those 2 interceptions, which is not very good. Then against Tampa, he threw for 220 yards with 2 picks and had a QBR of 50. Well, it's just not, it's not good enough.
But in the championship game, when he went head-to-head against Brady, he outplayed Brady in that championship game.
But he lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He outplayed him. He outplayed him when they played early in the year. But, Skip, to be efficient, the reason why Alex Smith, I gave him the name Check Down Alex, because he was unwilling to push the ball down the field. Okay. He'd rather check it down. He was very efficient.
Okay, but there's some middle ground between Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes right now. And again, that first year, going into his second training camp, he's practicing no-look passes and left-handed passes in training camp.
Just in case.
Wrong.
Just in case.
Wrong. It won't get you anywhere.
Yeah, it will.
Sorry.
It get you a first down to keep you on the field and win your game. You never know. So let me ask you a question. What throw do you think Brady has made in his career that he didn't practice?
That he didn't practice?
Yeah.
Well, none.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's my point to you.
My point to you is
how many times has Tom Brady thrown a left-handed or a no-look pass? How about 0?
Tom Brady can barely walk and chew gum. So we got to stick to the basics. Stick to the basics.
You just said the GOAT can barely walk and chew gum?
We stick to the basics. Skip, the man ran a 6-flat 40.
He did get drafted by Montreal to play baseball.
A catcher.
Right.
How fast are catchers?
Well, I didn't say speed. He can walk and chew gum. He might have some of the sweetest pocket feet I've ever seen.
He does, but he's a different guy. Skip, a lot of that has to do with how athletic we are. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is mobile. Tom Brady has had to make the most of the situation that he is. He's not mobile. Okay. So he's found a way to last 22 years in a 7x9.
Okay, so you're saying if you got it, flaunt it, and lose it.
I believe in conspicuous consumption. If you have it, flaunt it.
Okay.
That's what I do.
No mercy. Well, guys, the 76ers picked up the win over the Mavericks last night, but Dwight Howard also picked up another technical foul. Well, the 76ers lead the Eastern Conference right now, thanks in part to Dwight. He also leads the league with 14 techs, just 2 short of landing him a 1-game suspension at this point. So, Shannon, is Dwight a positive or negative influence on the team?
This is what you have to worry about, Skip. He leads the league in technical foul, although he's only playing 17 minutes a game. And that was his problem. He didn't take it serious enough. Dwight Howard, he could run like Wilt and David Robinson. Look at that frame. But he didn't work on his game. And this is what he is now. He's relegated to a role player, and he's a very good role player. But this is what you have to worry about, the bull jive. Why? Why you got to shove the guy, Dwight? Why? Just like when Joel Embiid wasn't playing the other day. He got kicked out of a game, and Doc like, just some foolishness, some bull jive. That was unnecessary. And that's been so much of his career. So much of what he's done has been unnecessary.
I hear you. I get it. But I have come to love late career Dwight, and I believe your Lakers are going to miss whatever that edge is, that distracting edge that he has, and that enforcer's impact. He is an enforcer. He does scare people.
What happens when he misses a game because he picks up that 17
well, he's getting close to it
So
right
what
now.
happens then? Are they going to miss him then?
How valuable has he been to the Sixers
He's
right
been
now?
very valuable, Skip.
Because they are leading the East right now, in part because of his impact.
Yes, Skip, we get that, but that's the problem that you have to run it, that you have to worry about it. Skip, I shouldn't have to babysit a grown man to make him behave in the course of a game.
You're missing him. You know
Are
it.
you missing it just a little?
No.
No?
Yep.
Okay.
We missed him a little bit, but we got
we're
big
done.
drum.
Wrapping it up. Good
Big
stuff today,
penguin.
guys. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is on now. Have a great day.